Got it. Got it. And I will pull up my spiel as soon as I can see my face. And yep, there's our stuff. Hello and welcome, everyone. We're going to take just a moment to get the text set, and then we will start sharing our learn and play for today. My name is Danielle Costello. I'm a research and instruction librarian from Louisiana State University. And this is Game RT's Learn and Play series, where today we're going to be exploring the ancient game of Senet. This event is being recorded. The recording will be available at Game RT members for 6 months before being publicly available at the Game RT website. We're also live streaming this session on Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Twitch is a video on demand service. Twitch video on demand is also accessible after 6-month membership period. If you aren't following Game RT on Twitch already, please give us a follow so we can build up the channel. Links will be added to the chat soon. And for anyone previously not familiar with Games RT, we are the Games and Gaming Roundtable of the American Library Association. Our mission is to promote gaming in libraries, whether that's programming, collection development, community building, prototyping, playtesting, or research. Oh, big amount of things that we try and assist with. We are here to help you with all of that. The Game RT has a professional 2 development series, a webinar series, and a learn and play series. These events usually alternate each month. But before we start today's learn and play session, I want to tell you about our other upcoming events, and links for how folks can attend these will be added. Oh, thank you so much, Thomas. Yes, we have a big lineup for April. So to start, this Friday, we're going to have a low stress, high mayhem session. This is our TTRPG actual play session where we gather some librarians from Game RT membership, and then we play a TTRPG and discuss how it could be used in libraries. For this session, we are going to be playing the micro game Were You Paying Attention by Beth Jackson of Beth and Angel Makes Games. This is a fun little communication game where you learn about communication through intentional miscommunication. So join us for that session this Friday at 12 Central. Then we're going to have a roundtable with our GNCRT comrades where we're going to be addressing censorship. So in this, we are dealing with we're teaming up with the Addressing Challenges Committee from the Graphic Novels and Comics Roundtable to discuss the historical censorship of popular media and how these challenges are being how we're addressing these challenges in libraries today. Then the next Friday, we will go into a different webinar where we're going to be talking with Foundry 10. This is going to be discussing how TTRPGs have been used in youth programs and how the kind of study that the Foundry 10 has done on TTRPGs and youth and the different SEL skills that youth might learn from TTRPGs, and they're going to discuss all their findings on all the wonderful things that TTRPGs are good at for your young patrons. And then finally, at the end of the month, we're going to have a 3RT Super Spectacular. This is where we partner with GNCRT again, but also the Film and Media Roundtable, where we're going to be discussing a particular theme. In this case, since it is Superhero Month and that is Superhero Day, we're going to be discussing superhero media in games, in graphic novels, in film, and all the ways this particular idea intersects with all our various media. There's going to be a lot of different events for that day. It'll start at 10, and then we're going to have 5 to 6 different sessions on a variety of things. So please keep on to all the social media that GameRT puts out. We will have actual programs very soon. And with that all said, Thomas, I think this is time for you to begin your session, and let me introduce you. Or would you like to introduce yourself, Thomas?
Oh, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. That's fine. Yes, my name is Thomas Vos. I'm the director at the Ruth Enlow Library of Garrett County. And I seem to have closed off my thing. Hang on, sorry. Oops. And with me ordinarily would be Regina Bowie-Sweeten. She is the Archives and Special Collections Librarian for the Golden Library at Eastern New Mexico University. Unfortunately, she hasn't been able to make it so far. We'll just play it by ear. And over here in Western Maryland, I keep myself and my patrons amused with games, zines, and books of all kinds, of course. And as past president of the Games and Gaming Roundtable, we've done a lot over here with TTRPGs, with board games, with video game tournaments, and all sorts of things, and with gamification of the classics. So that's something we're proud of over here too. But you know all that, right? Right, Liam? It's good to see you. So, moving along then, we have a little bit of the history of Senet. So, Senet is called the game of passing. And it is very, very old. It is actually probably the oldest board game that we know about. And it's really neat to think about how people, not just before TV, but before any electronics or anything like that, you had to, find ways to entertain yourself. And, when you think about how royalty would have sit down in their leisure hours and tried to figure out, what can we do to pass the time? What can we do that's fun? And they came up with board games. And so this is the most ancient game we know of nowadays. I got 3 sets here. So this game is so old that the exact rules have been basically forgotten. We had to reconstruct them. And so all we have to go on are the boards that you see here. So this guy over here, he is from Egypt. This is from about 1550 to 1295 BCE. And it's the oldest one we know of, and it's at the Met Museum. And you can buy reproductions of it online if you want. And then over here, this one here is Amenhotep III's board. I think that's a very pretty one. I like the blue. I don't know about you. That one is at the Brooklyn Museum. And that one dates from between 1390 to 1353 BCE. And this one down here is from a guy named King Tut. Now, this is from Tutankhamun's burial place, and this is from 1325 BCE. He was buried with 5 other things, so this is one of them. So I guess they want to make sure he had plenty to do. Probably gets real bored when you're stuck there for eternity. So now here is something else that's interesting. This is Queen Nefertari. She is from she lived between 1279 and 1213 BCE. And here is a tomb fresco of her playing the game of Senet. You can see it right there. And from these sorts of things, we came to find that the game has a great deal of religious significance. I'm going to back up stop that. I'm going to go back to this one here. And sorry, a second. Yeah, sorry. You'll see that there are several spaces that have markings on. Now, these markings indicate stages on the trip to the afterlife. Now, moving pieces along the board was thought to correspond with the way your soul, or the ba, moves throughout the different stages in the other world. So the imagery on the board did change somewhat over time, and it got more religious overtones corresponding with this. So it's actually referred to in the Book of the Dead, Senet. It's a game that dead souls could venture forth and play against living souls. There's actually a line in there called the formulae for elevation and transfiguration, for going out from the necropolis, for being in the following of Osiris, and being content with the food of Wennefer, going out by day, taking any form desired to be taken, playing the board game Senet, being in the pavilion, a living soul, the Osiris among the revered before the great Ennead, which is in the west after he moors. So yeah, board games, serious business. There's also a document called the Great Game Text, which has been translated. It's kind of half a play-by-play and half a religious liturgy. And I can give that to you here in chat once I get out of this here, sorry. But there's some lines about Senet from there as well. And it even made it into their written language as the MN sound. So that little character there is a Senet board, and it makes the sound MN, and yeah, it's part of the language. Because of course, hieroglyphics, the pictograms of, things that would be recognizable. So there's a really interesting question though, as to why, I'm going to stop share for a second, post a couple of resources, but why did it die out? So there's a real good article from Eurogamer that I'll post there in chat, and you're welcome to take a look at. And it didn't, we did a previous session here, Learn and Play, on the Royal Game of Ur. And excuse me, the Royal Game of Ur stayed popular and traveled. It traveled to other countries adopted it. You know, it was played in a lot of areas. Senet didn't really leave Egypt, and it died out. And like I said, we don't know what the rules are because we had to reconstruct them. You know, we have a bit more of an idea because it was played continuously in some cultures, variants of it, for a very long time. This one, not so much. And I really liked the discussion in this article because it kind of comes down to maybe it's a little boring. So, but we'll see for ourselves here when we get to play in a bit. Now, but feel free to take a look for yourself at that one. But yeah, the object of the game, we don't entirely know what the object of the game was. And that's part of the fun of history. Sometimes you just don't know. And hang on a second, let me pull up one other thing here, sorry. So based on a reconstruction of the game, as best as we're able, so I will once again share the slideshow. As best as we're able to reconstruct the game, we have you basically move your pieces on a path, starting here, all the way to the final squares. Now, these final squares are the tricky bit when it comes to the rules, and the symbols that are on there indicate how many throws you need in order to clear off the board. So in a way, it's a little like Sorry and like the Royal Game of Ur, which we covered last time. It's the same sort of follow the path, get off the board sort of situation. Now, they use throwing sticks back then as the markers. So basically think about like popsicle sticks, and you paint one side a different color, and that's what you used. And whatever you'd throw the sticks, and that would determine how many spaces you'd move. And then landing on an opponent's piece would cause you to switch places with that token. So a bit like Sorry again. Now, special squares, you can see them down here, can also be found on the board. And there's one up here on other boards. We'll get to that. There's one about halfway called the House of Life. It was around here. And there are several more at the end. And by landing on these, you had to roll an exact amount in order to clear it off the space. Otherwise, depending on which rules you follow, because again, we don't know the rules, we had to kind of guess at them. It can kick you back to the House of Life in the middle there. If you don't get the right, if you try to get off the board and don't get the right thing, it kicks you back. But again, this is all very symbolic. If you don't succeed in your quest to pass through the afterlife successfully, you get kicked back to a previous position. There are the ones at the end are called the House of Happiness. You have to land there. And it's like, think the game of life where everybody has to stop, and do stuff. So the House of Happiness, and then you have the House of Water, which again, if you fail, will kick you back to the middle. Then the House of the Three Birds, the House of Reatum, and then the final square, which is the House of Horakti. Sorry, I'm probably mispronouncing Horakti, I believe it is. And each of those would require an exact roll to take it off the board. So if you land here, you got to get a 3. If you land here, you got to get a 2. Otherwise, back you go. So now there's a lot of back and forth, when I tried playing it, as a practice, there's a lot of back and forth, taking and retaking of positions. You switch, and the other person gets a 3 and switches back, because they're only throwing like typically 4 sticks. And so when you have only a certain amount of possible throws, people tend to get the same things multiple times in a row. And then you take one spot, and then they take the same spot, and then you take that spot again. And so there's a lot of that. Now, there also seems to be, from what I've seen, there's uncertainty and some variation about when pieces can be switched, how the bit at the end works in regard to kicking you back to that space. And the rules that I've seen online do differ there in some respects. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share here, and then I will show you a nice handout that Regina made. Let's see. So here we go. Sorry, I'm a little scattered. There we go. So we have a nice little handout here in which you can play online against the computer or against other folks, and we'll be playing on here in a minute. And then you have, but again, the rules vary. I've seen at least 3 free online versions of Senet, and they all have little variations as to how you can play and how the computer's set up. And here's some fun resources. There's a museum here, Otago Museum in New Zealand, and they have a link to your basic rules and online gameplay and some printable pieces, so you can give that a shot. And the University of Chicago has a good resource with the same, again, slightly different rules because nobody really knows. And imagine digging up this, this game board and think to yourself, wow, how did they do this? And all I have to go on are these little pieces here. And I don't even know if all the pieces are there. And, the markings are kind of worn off. And imagine having to reconstruct something like that. So, and this is a resource that is available to folks. I will share it here in chat. There you go. So, let's go ahead and try to see it in practice, shall we? So we have play. So I'm going to go use the link that's found in the handout. And we'll go ahead and post it here. And I am not going to allow ads. Don't ask me. So I want to play with another person. And I'm not sure if it's going. I think we might just have to. Would you like to play against me? Who would like to play against me? Danielle, would you like to do it? All right, let's go. So, so I think what I'm going to have to do, I don't see a function that lets me. Hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at.
Mhm.
So we have the board, of course, but stop that. Here is the thing. So I want to select person, but unfortunately, I think we just kind of have to take turns, and you'll just kind of have to call out what it is you want me to do. Sorry.
Okie dokie, that's not a problem. I am very happy with going back and forth.
So 3, I'll go first, I guess. So, and I think I am the darker green ones. So I will move him there. So say which number you want.
Okay, and remind me again. So the 4 means I move 4 forward in the.
Okay, so yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I need to be a little more helpful, don't I? So this is the numbers indicate the path. So you start here. You go zoom, zoom,
Oh, okay. Oh, I see how it moves now.
and then so this again is the house of life, and in some versions this is a safe square, and we'll find out if this is one of those versions. And this is the point at which you could be sent back from down here where you're trying to. You'll notice.
Oh no, I was just looking. Let's try moving the number 10 and see what happens. I'm a big fan of failing forward and seeing.
I like it. That's a good attitude. All right, so my turn. 2. So I'm going to be a jerk.
That's fair.
And that you see, it changes positions. Now this is going to happen a lot. When I was going against the computer just keeps doing it. Which one?
1, 2. Let's move number 12 to the house of life.
Okay.
Yep. I think it's fun to play a lot of these ancient games in computer models first that have the rules where you can't quite break it, because I feel like if I don't know the rules and the game's in front of me, I'm just gonna be like, I'll just put it here. I don't actually know what the rule is versus, oh, this is where this moves, and then it automatically shuffled me back. And so you can kind of get more intuitively the rules before you play it in front of you.
Well, that's interesting because you also think about there's some games that, speaking of computer models, there are some games where the computer is going to play a perfect game, and where skill doesn't really enter into it. And I was looking at this and I was thinking to myself, is this one of those where there's only a predetermined outcome? But anyway, five. What do you want? Which one do you want?
5. Let's move 8 to no, let's move 6. Yeah.
All right. 1. Okay, so I'm going to see if this is a safe spot or not. It is not. It is a safe
Ah.
space. So yeah, I can't grab you there. So I'm gonna bump him.
Oop, there we go. Let's move 8 to 10.
All right.
Yeah, there are some variations in Tabletopia and the various other more modern board games that get put out where you can just do whatever. The board game is there and exists in virtual space rather than any kind of programming like this too. So it's fun.
Let's see here. I was. Oh, let's keep pushing these guys forward, I guess.
1. I'll move 11 to 12. That'd be great.
All right. So I always felt that doing this would be a real fun, like historical / gaming program between this and let's see here. Which one do I want to do? Just push it along. Between the Royal Game of Earth, and there's all sorts of other things you could do too.
Let's move 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, let's move 3 up.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the crossover between here is history, but
Yeah.
let's living history, as it were.
Yeah, I love that too. And that's something I've always wanted to do more of, where you're kind of replicating the way people used to live. I always felt like doing something like this and also getting like foods that were eaten at the time as part of
Mm.
it, like snacks, would be a real fun thing. Can you back? Sorry.
It's all right. I do like let's move 1 to 3.
All right.
I don't know every historical game, but of the ones you've shown me, there is definitely the competitive. Well, sorry, you're just gonna have to like move back to like Starry or chess.
Mhm.
Obviously, takes pieces out.
Snakes and ladders.
Go, yeah, snakes and ladders, and it would be interesting to see. Do you know if there's any ancient like cooperative play games, or is that more of a modern phenomena in the gaming
That's a
uh,
very,
of what we know? Because I'm sure there are games that we've lost to time.
that is a very good question. Ancient cooperative games, yeah. Because everything I can think of is head to head, Go, chess, backgammon, uh, fox and grapes, or fox and geese.
Hmm. Hmm.
4. Which one do you want?
Let's move 15 up. Haha. Let's try that.
Ah!
Finally get competitive. There we go. Yeah, and like shogi as well. Well, really all of the games that are kind of derived from chess, there's a whole land of them, so it makes sense that would also be uh similar in vein of like competitiveness.
What's it gonna be?
Let's move 9 up. There we go. Give my back ones a little bit of space to breathe.
All right, let's see. But
Although I do like these ancient games for teaching to younger children as well, because the complexity is in kind of learning the very simple rules and then deeper strategies for how these kind of occur and maybe fractions and maths, but not necessarily in the expansive, Gloomhaven or something where it's like there's a lot that this has to happen and this has to happen. It's like, here's are the set of things, and now kind of devise your brain around what you want to make happen.
2.
Let's go into that 14 space. 12 to 14. There we go.
All right. So I was doing some research on chess recently, and it turns out, have any of you done anything with chess in the way of like a chess program? Okay.
I have not. We do have, we brought chess in because I know that there are chess players and it's always a popular game, but I have not personally done anything with chess as far as programming goes.
Well, I suck at chess generally. I mean, I know how to play it, but I don't know any of the strategies or anything like that. So if I go up against anybody who actually knows what they're doing, I invariably lose. But one thing that's interesting when I was researching this, researching other things, is that there's a lot of interesting variants in chess. Which one do you want?
13 to 16 or 17. There we go. Yay, counting.
Nice. But there's one called courier chess, which adds other pieces. There's a bunch of they're called fairy pieces that are like homebrew sorts of things that do different moves in chess. And it's a really cool rabbit hole to go down. Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. The game 8 to 11. I do love that games teach us how to fail with grace and potentially dignity as we play them more, especially with our friends, because I feel a lot of the time the end goal is, yes, we're competing, but at the end of the day, we've all had fun, so we all win. It's my favorite variant.
There you go.
And honestly, I'm bad at all the things I love, so it is a-okay. 9 to 11, please.
All right.
Is the highest number a 5 that we can reach?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And these were sticks then? So is it like
think popsicle sticks and
Mhm.
pick one side and then throw them in the air and see which side lands up.
Okay.
It's almost like flipping coins.
But that's what I was about to say. It's because I'm trying to figure out like mathematically, because in if you have two D6 dice, mathematically the 7 is going to be more likely to happen, and then you can wreak havoc knowing what is more likely to happen. And so I'm like, okay, what is the most likely of the sticks toss going to be like when you're setting up your rows of little people?
Well, you'll remember that the Royal Game of Ur, which used a very similar thing, they had it was basically D4s with one corner painted, and that was what you'd use instead. So it's a bit of a different probability distribution.
Ooh, so to play as human has mentioned that it would be fun to showcase games like Senet and go alongside more modern abstract games. And that would be a lot of fun to especially do kind of a timeline. So you can play the oldest to the more recent of abstracts and kind of see how thought has changed or maintained. That would be a really fun experiment.
I love that.
3, let's go to I can't do that. 11 to 14.
Oh, it's not letting you. What?
1, 2, 3. Interesting. Does that mean that like you get that block now because you're 15
Maybe
is
because I'm next to another one.
might be. Let's move 10 to 13. Let's try that. See if that
There
works.
we go.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna go over here, see what I can do here. So let's see.
Now let's move 19 up as well. Let's get closer to see what also the little bits and bobs.
So I'm gonna go over here.
Mhm.
And I think so. I need to get a 1 to get him off. I think I need to get a 1 in the next roll. Sure. So we'll see.
Although that'd be interesting because you do have a piece there too. Let's 23 to 24. Get me a little closer so we can play with the end bits.
Well, I can't do anything with him. This is probably gonna say, yeah, no move possible. So it's not killing me. So that's good.
Yay.
That.
Let's do 12 to 15.
Right. You're safe. Okay. So let's go with. I gotta get my guys out of there.
Yeesh. 3 to 4. A tiny move.
No.
Oh, it's the double.
I think it is because there's doubles and they're blocking.
Oh, fun. Then 11 to 12.
Okay.
I could see where it would behoove somebody to get as many of their pieces up and then bottleneck the 15 and 14.
So maybe if I do some sort of like twos over and over
Mm-hmm.
here.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Same thing.
Ooh, let's pop 24 to 26.
Okay. 5.
I also like that there's not as many. While I do have different moves and different pieces to contend with, 3 to 4, please. It's not like I have to pay as much attention because I'm very bad at abstract games. Once again, things I love. Like I love the strategy, but it's not too much. Like it's not overwhelming. Like I love Quirkle, but also I'm bad because I'll always miss. Like something else is happening on the board, or there's so much color and right, and it's like, oh no, I've mismanaged my moves. Oh, so to play as human, I think it's 5. 5 is the highest number that we've come across so far. And
Yeah.
that's from the Twitch chat.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And if anybody in the Zoom chat has any questions as well, please definitely put them in chat and we will.
do.
Oh, so Parcheesi, the Royal Game of India, question mark. I didn't, maybe the question mark is just a typo. I did an exhibit for their previous library called The Games of Our Ancestors. So Leah,
Nice.
well done.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's something that we'd like to see at the Games and Gaming Roundtable. Honestly, maybe you should do a little bit of a blurb for us for our blog.
Yes. So so we in the Games and Gaming Roundtable do a blog, several different blog series. And if you have any kind of event that you've already done that you want to talk about, you want to talk about how you set it up, how it went, all the different promotionals, you can definitely send us I will send us our email so that way you can put it in there. But we also have for any members that are listening here as well, if you want to review an ancient game and talk about like your experience playing it, we also accept reviews into the blog.
How you brought it into the library and did your own program about it and how it went. That would be wonderful. Logistical issues that came up because of it.
Mhm.
You got a 4.
Oh, let's move 13 to 17. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I always thought that a old timey card game thing would be fun too, where you're doing the games that aren't really played much anymore, like
Mhm.
euchre.
Oh, definitely. And I feel like everybody has up in kind of like Midwest Michigan area their own family version of like with their own particular rules of how you bet or how you uh, play with your partners, that kind of thing. Let's move the 26 to 30, please.
Hey, you're getting
Because I
close.
was with my wife's family and it was half hearts, half euchre, like a couple of rules that I was just like, okay, I feel like I've never heard them before. But everybody had played that since she was little, so they all like knew the rules, and it was just fun to experience like a tiny family culture of gaming.
Well, that's awesome. We have at my library. Oh, you got a 3, by the way.
Oh, let's pop 17 over to 19.
We have a
Or
very active Mahjong group that meets at one of our branches a lot. And so they've started teaching folks how to play Mahjong a bit more. And I learned basics of it, and it seems very complicated and difficult. I tried playing it back in, playing like the Yakuza games.
Yes.
They have it, but it's kind of shooting in the dark there. But oh yes, my turn. All right. But yeah, and so Mahjong's another good possibility.
Let's
It's
pop the 31 or 30 out. See if we can.
nice.
Nope.
And so, but it's nice to see that one apparently seems to be enjoying a bit of a renaissance there. Not that
I think it has a lot to do with games as well as being fun. Just to play intellectually are fun tactily, like the sound of mahjong, like the tiles moving around, the
yeah,
ability to like just flip everything over. It's just delightful.
there's a lot of what I noticed anyway. It seems like almost like ritual elements with Mahjong. You do this a certain way, follow these paths. I don't know, it just seemed kind of neat that way. Anyway,
Nice. 15 to 17. Yeah, I got into there's a Japanese deck kind of the time period where Japan closed its borders. They
uh-huh.
people still enjoyed the Western playing cards, however, couldn't get the Western playing cards from Portugal or England anymore. So they made their own sets. So like there's a game called Koi Koi, which if you've ever watched Summer Wars is one of the kind of climactic parts of the story. So we watched it and we're like, this is so interesting, engaging. Let's like play Koi Koi by ourselves. And it plays us like there's suits and then there's, runs and all the similar things of, the 52 kind of French style deck,
Yeah.
but just kind of more beautiful in a way.
And there's Hanafuda too.
Yes. And it uses the same deck. So much like 52 has, you can play everything from poker to euchre, you can play Hanafuda with that deck and then the Koi Koi as well.
I always wanted to get a Nintendo made Hanafuda deck because that's how they started out and they still sell them.
They're so tiny. I love them so much. Let's move the 18 up to where Rick goes. Here we go.
Right. I'm going to take my chances going here to this 2. See what happens.
Always gambling. Let's move the 7 up.
All right. So what happens if I try to move him? Nope, not going to let me.
Nope.
All right.
Good to know. Another thing I like about strategy games is I feel like they're 23 up to 26 because as we're playing oh no, not possible for that. Let's move the 10 up then, please. It's really easy to chat as you're playing these games. Like we could like if I actually controlled it, we wouldn't even have like any pauses. We'd go back and forth, moving our pieces and moving around. So the social aspects of like the ideas that you can get into, because there are some games where I'm like, no, I must focus. I want no distractions. I'm into it versus like this is like I feel the older games are much more communicative and casual. 23 up to 25, please. Which I think we should probably have these. If anybody's at annual this year, there are going to be lots of members of the board that are able to be there. We're going to have a gaming grove. That's going to live within kind of. I don't know if it's called a dealer's room at annual, but that's how I know it as from conventions. It's similar experience where all the vendors are. We're going to have a table there as well, and then a nice big grove for playing games and exploring and showcasing stuff. So I think we should have some of these ancient games so people can get.
That would be fun, and especially since they're public domain, you can just print up a copy and.
Yeah.
So yeah.
14 up to 17, I believe. Yes.
All right.
And if they also like, I'm sure you can find on Thingiverse and other places like actual 3D prints.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can move from STEM to history, have all like kind of a nice conglomerate of all the different fields of study within games. I do love that it is such a mash of all of our intersections of humanity. Let's move 4 up. It's behind. Poor thing. And if anybody has any questions in chat, either through Zoom or through the Twitch chat, please let us know. Or if you have any comments, and we will say them aloud so everybody can.
Yes.
Our cross audiences. Let's see, where would 3 go? Let's move 15 up, please. Okay. Actually, I really like this game, Cos. I knew nothing about this game other than you guys were going to do it, and then it was in ancient Egypt. And now it's like, oh, I kind of get the rules and kind of get what I like want to do, which is so much fun. 8 to 9, please.
And it is strategic, but also in a way that's kind of predetermined, kind of not entirely, because you do get to make picks. But let's see here. I've never been good at strategy games. For instance, I'm terrible at like Risk and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about
9 to 11, please.
And that's about the only one I can get into because I tried playing Axis and Allies, and it's just a grind, and also want to play as Nazis. So
no. Yeah, sometimes like the mechanics are good, but the theming, I'm like, I am not going to get into this game at all. There's lines I absolutely cannot cross. 11 to 13, which is why abstract games I feel are great for a lot of different libraries that, especially like we're having conversations about censorship and what we can and can't have in our libraries. And I know, well, for games, we're not quite there yet because I feel like most people don't know about games in the library, but one piece of media will move to another piece of media very quickly. So abstract games like can exist in a place where at least we have this part of our collection that we don't have to be too concerned about. 14, up, please.
So here's a question for folks in the chat or what have you. Should a library circulate Cards Against Humanity?
Ooh, that is a good question. And then since there was a little beep I heard on my end, Thomas's question is, should collection circulate Cards Against Humanity? I work at academic libraries, so thankfully this is generally not a problem for me. That's actually one of the most popular games for yeah, our population. I think it's partly name recognition, partly we deal with young adults who are out on their own for the first time, and that kind of ribald like discussions that happen around that particular game. They love it so very much. But yeah, I think it's the highest, that and Apples to Apples. Also the ease of the play, while Apples to
Yeah.
Apples is, I mean, they're almost the same game with different cards, I feel. Like, or just different topic cards.
They're easy to explain.
Yep. 19 on up, please.
Mhm.
But yeah, there are some cards in the Cards Against Humanity that I'm like, this is not actually funny, and I don't agree with this at all.
Yeah.
And thankfully the producers or the creators of the card game have like heard the community say like, this is absolutely not something to joke about, and have pulled some of their own cards from the official decks.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, let's do 21 up, please.
All right. Oh, okay, that's right. You're doubled up. So I will go here.
Good job, team. That's another thing. You do have to move, so you can't keep your doubles forever. Can 25 move? What were the rules for that one? Nope.
You have to land where I am.
Okay. Then 24 will move up. Nope.
I'm protected.
Oh, interesting. Let's do 18 then. Oh, we're about to have a bottleneck of interesting things where we just are going to be waiting for rolls.
All right, let's see. Well, I guess I can. I'm going to keep it there while I move this guy up.
Okay, so 3, that can't move, that can't move. Let's do 17 on up.
Okay. Nope, here be here.
Oh, you're right. Can 20 move? They'll go to 23, right? Yeah. There we go. Nice. I do like that's only up to 5. So let's do 14 up, please.
All right.
There are some games that are devastating, Snakes and Ladders, where it's just like, I have lost desperately.
You know what? Actually, I think I can just clear him off. You did it.
Let's see.
First, now you got the 26 all yourself.
Yes. Let's move 23 up, please. There we go. And then that will need a 5 to exit out.
Let's go there. Getting into end game.
Okay. Can my 26 move?
Yes.
Okay. I like that chance better.
I can't do anything at all.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, just pop back to me. Let's move the 28.
Did it. All right. I can't do anything at all. I just went.
Yeah. 17. There we go. Hey. Oh no, not possible. Okay, then 25 will have to move.
Oh,
or 24. Yeah, either way.
Yeah, it'll have to be 24.
Oh.
All right. Well,
so end game gets slightly interesting where we're just kind of desperately rolling to try and like sorry our way out.
Well, what's gonna be
26, please?
Can't do anything with him, so there's that.
And then 25, can that just exit?
No, because he has to stop on.
Then 17, please.
I'll take it. Oh, can't do anything. My turn.
Yeah. While there is some strategic elements, I feel like definitely end game relies on just luck. Like we're just trying to get on out. 24 or 22? Whichever one can move.
That's not gonna.
Yep. Now it feels like a coin toss instead of I've done something intellectual and demanding. Yeah, let's move 26 up.
The only one I can move is 20, I think.
Yep. And then back and forth, like that you said. One, please. No, okay. 20 to 23.
Right. Yeah, but sorry, I guess that you can't do that. Now we're both stuck.
Yeah.
Ah.
Now it's become automated. 29 out. Yes.
Okay.
And I don't see any questions, although now is the time because we're about 10 minutes out, and I think we'll finish the game and then have final thoughts about this and like any other game shenanigans. So please, if you have them in chat, let us know as we desperately try to get the rolls.
So another thing I saw about chess that was interesting was my turn again. All right. See, that's what I was talking about. It kicks you back. If
that
you
seems
screw up, you know.
That seems like the most punitive thing. Like everything before has been like little losses, and that one feels kind of big for you.
So I've seen it a couple ways. One is, again, if you land on that one, but another one is if you land on any of these and in the next roll fail to get off the board.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So
well, I guess since, you know, board game design is interesting. Yeah, put the 23 on up. Is interesting in that now we have we want to have a timed experience where we want like maybe a half hour, 2 hours of play. We don't have like lives that inhabit like, there's so much media and so much stuff. So having a game with an end mechanic that essentially lets you play forever makes a lot of sense because like, well, what else are you going to do? There's not too much in your town. The game is it versus us where it's like, that mechanic seemed so mean. I don't want to keep playing.
Yeah, with chess, it's interesting. Sorry. There's a bunch of like weird chess variants. There's one I saw that the entire back row. So chess has the two rows: the front row and the back row. Front row is all pawns. The entire back row is normal. The entire front row is completely random as to what kind of piece you get.
That's so interesting.
You can have like 5 more queens.
Yes, I want 5 queens. Give me the set with 5 queens.
And then the other person has another random set, so it could be anything.
I could see this going horribly awry for somebody.
And I also saw one where it's like it's more of a mathematical thought experiment. But how would chess look played on an infinite board? Is it possible to win?
Ow. Yeah, because I was just thinking of the bishop just moving in diagonals forever.
Yeah. But is it possible to win a game like that where you're actively trying to catch a king that can still only move one piece at a time? One square. Yeah.
I am so sorry to interrupt, but there has been someone that posted a question in the Zoom chat about 15 minutes ago.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
By Saptarshi. I hope I'm saying that right.
We are sorry about that. Question.
Yes, attendees will get emailed the slides and handouts after the session. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry about that.
Thank you.
And thank you, Leanne.
Oh, and again. We're getting close here. Nope. Uh-oh. Sorry. Oh, you can get 30 off.
Yes, please.
From there, I'm assuming you want 22.
Just a little move, please.
Here's where we start getting all the oops.
Boop, boop. Yep.
Okay, who gets the better rolls? Not me.
Truly luck of the draw. Although maybe in the past, lucky, like this kind of luck did seem like very realistic. Like it's just divine will that you are or aren't going to get this what you want.
Who will win?
And nope. Please enjoy our automated game of Senet at this point.
Exactly. Well, there was a real good book written recently. It's called 7 Games, and it's by Oliver Reader, and I really liked it a lot. But it talks about the state of 7 games.
Moving up. Moving up.
Sorry.
All's well. All's well.
You never know. Hey, you got another 5. There you go.
There we go. Not too bad. But your book, Thomas.
Yes, 7 Games by Oliver Reader. It's in my collection here, and it talks about things like backgammon and chess and all that, but it talks about kind of the state of play nowadays with them, and especially at the high level, and how many of them. It's kind of disturbing to see how many of them have basically been broken open by computers, where you simply cannot beat, or at the best you can tie, because there's an optimal path and the computer will take it. And even with chess, which theoretically isn't, the computer is going to operate at a higher level than even some of the best chess people in the world, So it's a little depressing. The one though that hadn't broken open, I thought was interesting, was bridge, because it relies too much on people.
Do you like Game Bridge? Oh, there you go, Thomas. I think you won. Well done. And let's see, we played that about half an hour. That's not too bad to have in a for a session and to have a game night.
Well, that is Senet, and it's a very old game, and it's something you can incorporate pretty easily into a board gaming session and focus on history. And again, think of one of the things with board games, too, at the libraries, is think of what we can provide that you can't necessarily get just going over to a friend's house. What can we do that's special? And bringing history to people and bringing materials that help them explore that history more is special. So
excellent. I can't think of a better way to end it, Thomas. So thank you so much for presenting today. Thank you, audience members, both in Zoom and in Twitch. If you have any questions post the session, you can email us at gamert@ala.org. But until then, we have lots of stuff planned for the month of April. Please look at our events. Please come back Friday at 12 so we can have some actual play in a very new TTRPG that we'd like to show you. Until then, I'm Danielle Costello, and this has been Game RT Learn and Play. Take care, everyone.
thank you very much.